Good day everybody, Blissful Goats here, and today I'm going to showcase you my new build of 60 card Generaider. Now this is not going to be like the build that topped recently, it's much more of a budget build, but we're not playing the Synchrons or anything like that. However, it's probably less powerful. I have beaten decks like Mathmech, updated Altergeist, Sprite, and I have it with this deck, so I'm paid to do something right. So yeah, this build is mostly centered around spreading out the bricks, and it plays the Invoked package, so let's take a look. Starting things off, we have 3 copies of Lonefire Blossom. The reason for this being is that Madel is a really important card in this deck. This deck lives and dies by its field spell, so the more ways we have to get a card that can search that field spell is really good. Other normal summon in the deck is 3 copies of Alistair. Now yes, these two do contradict each other because they're both normal summons. However, with the 60 cards, you're not going to see both of them in the opening hand. So I think we can justify that. You can cut the lone fires if you wish. But I really like them because it gives us more ways to get into the boss stage. So Alistair, he can search his own fusion spell. He can make a few fusions in this deck. And with Generators having all different attributes, it's very easy to go into whatever one you need. Play the rest of the Invoke package, 2 Invocation, 3 Meltdown. This is very standard. You don't need to play 3 of the fusion card because it can be searched and recycled. And in this deck, it's even less likely to break your hand because it's 60 cards. Meltdown, obviously, it searches your Alistair, protects your fusions. It's a really good field spell. Then we have the set with Generators. We have 3 Lopters. This is a Lonefire Blossom for Generators. He can sacrifice his Generaider and summon another one from the deck. He also gives them 1,000 extra points during the opponent's turn. And since the field spell summons 4 for 1,500 attack Generator monsters, this card gives you a board of 2,500 power monsters that can be sacrificed for effects and are hard to beat over. Splitting him, we have 3 copies of Valor. She is the best turn 1 player in the deck. You can summon her by pitching a Generator to the graveyard. She can then bring one back from the grave. So this card is usually a 1 card level rank 9 XE. The best card to get with her is 3 Madels. Now I played 3 Madels and they did that drawing both of these would be more likely. But in actuality, I didn't really do much. I did open up 3 of these in one hand, which was a real brick. So I think I cut this down to 2 in the future. Madel, when she's summoned, can search as any generator card from my deck to her hand. This makes her a terraforming if you haven't got the field spell. And if we have the field spell, she can search Disruption with the traps or more card draw with the spells. Again, I probably cut this down to 2 and play a second talent if I can get one. As for this, we're doing a very small ratio of the rest of them. 2 Has. I played 2 of this one because he's an Omni-Negate. He's also the biggest Generator we have in the deck. In addition to this, he can make the opponent discard a card or send a monster to the graveyard when they search, which for some decks can be very disruptive. The rest of these are all 1-ofs, 1 Utgarda, 1 Nidhogg, 1 Hela, and 1 Frody. So again, you don't want to draw these, which way I play 1, and they're quite easy to recycle with things like Hela. Utgarda is probably the best. You can send 2 Generators to the graveyard and banish a card on the field. This is good against field spells, like Runic Fountain for the most part. The other thing that this is not good against is obviously Kashtira, because they can get their cards back very easy. Nidhogg can... Sorry, I got this one. I can actually use the effect. This card can negate monsters by monster summons by shifting a Generator. Again, I never went into this, but it is really powerful. Frody can pop monsters for them with Generator tokens you sacrifice. Chewy Punk gets to draw cards, so you want to do this at the end of their turn instead of for an OTK next turn. And Hela is our revival card. You can sacrifice a Generator or a zombie and bring one back from the graveyard. It gives us more searches with Mardell. It gives us more removal with Utgarda. It gives us more searching with Lopter, etc. And of course, the core of the deck, 3 copies of Boss Stage. This is by far the best powerful card in this deck. What this card does is when an opponent draws a card, we can summon any of our generator bosses from the deck, which is a soft once per turn by the way, and then as a hard once per turn, during the opponent's turn if they draw, you get 4 tokens. This lets you activate all the generator effects, it gets you access to your entire deck. Again, Dia Yuga says when she did the top of this deck, and I agree, protect this card with your life. Next we have the 3 copies of Wood Legacy Monstrosity. Okay, before I talk about what this card does, I'm going to say this. There will come a day when Konami releases a rank 9 deck that is meta. When that happens, this card is going to get banned or put to 1. I guarantee it. Mark my words now on that. So what does this do? Well, it's a quick play with 2 effects. 1, you can summon a level 9 from your hand. So that's good if you draw too many bosses and it clogs your hand. Or 2, if you have a 9 on the field, you can use this and summon 2 level 9s from the deck with different attributes and types. They can't attack and destroy at the end phase. This means that if we don't have a generator play to start things off, we can target our Macabre to get 2 generators in play. If we do have a generator in play, we can play this and get 2 more. And this gives us 3 materials for our XCs, which we'll talk about in a bit. But again, mark my words, this card going to want to get banned one day. 2 copies of Boss Quest. This lets us shuffle a generator back into our deck and add 2 spells or traps to our hand. This is obviously great for unclogging if we draw a lot of boss monsters, and gives us more access to the field spell and the trap cards. Speaking of which, 1 boss room and 3 boss fights. So I've gone with this. So I really like boss room. Basically, if you want to respond to the generator effect, once per turn you can discard a card and then change that effect to both players draw a card. This sets up the graveyard for Hela, and it also gives us more options to activate our field spell. Boss fight. It lets us activate a field spell from the deck, and then our opponent draws a card. So basically, it lets us. It's another way to get boss stage if we don't have it, and gives us instant access to activation of the card. It means we can use boss stage during our own turn, and it lets us recycle through the boss stages if we already have one up. Because, like I said, the summon from deck is not a hard one per turn. Supplementing this, we have 2 Dogmatic Punishment because we had space in the extra deck, so why not? 1 Terraforming for more ways to get to the field spells. And the rest of this is hand traps and wall breakers. So 3 Ash, 3 Nib, 3 Ghost Spell, 3 Infinite Permanents. I think in the future I would probably cut these, Dark Will No Mores, and play Draw and Lockbird instead. Because this card I think would be better in the side deck. And 1 Talent, which will be 2 when I get the second one. Again, honestly, if you can afford it, I would get the Synchron package because it gives you access to Ancient Fairy Dragon, which gives you more ways to cycle through your field spells. But this budget brew, like I said, it's beaten some of the top decks in my locals. Let's take a look at the extra deck now. 2 copies of Leviathan, 2 copies of Yominunda. Leviathan is our best first in play if we open up with with Vala, rather. He's a rank 9. He's a reverse of Lopter, and then he reduces the opponent's attack by 1,000. And quick effect, you can send him to the graveyard and summon another Generaider XC from your extra deck, and then attach material to it equal the material he had. So basically, this card gives you a 2k Yominunda right on the bat. Yominunda gains 1,000 attack for every material it has, and quick effect, you can make both players draw a card and put a card under it as material. So not only does it make this card massive, it also is another way to trigger the boss stage effects. Because the boss stage didn't care how your opponent drew a card, just that they did. This card, it's amazing beater, it's great going second, and if it stays around long enough, which in this deck which is very grindy is likely, it makes a massive Zeus. Next we have the Invoked cards, so it's 2 Macabre, 1 Purgatrio, and 1 Kaliga. So Macabre is always the best of these because it's a negate for pretty much anything, pretty much in your hand. It's also level 9, so you can go into the Generaider XCs with it. Purgatrio is something we play going second. It gets massive if one's got a big board and can pierce, so you can do a lot of damage before we go into Yominunda, along with things like Yominunda and Zeus. And Kaliga, he makes it only 1 monster can attack or use its effects each turn. This card's actually amazing in this build because it basically forces the opponent to play at our speed. Since usually we'll be using 1 boss a turn with Generaider. So forcing your opponent to play at on that level usually means we're going to win. And to go with the punishments, we have 1 Entess. This turns punishment into into removing 2 monsters. It's really good. Next we have 1 IP Masquerena, 1 Unicorn, 1 Access Code, and 1 Artemis. Now Artemis is just here to go into to facilitate the invoked plays. You play Alistair, you link it to this, then you fuse her and Alistair to make Macabre, and that's really what she's there for. Access Code actually never come up yet, but he's obviously a go second strategy. These two, if you get If you get more material on the field, you can use these with the tokens. And for the 15th spot, you could choose any kind of rank 9. You could play another Yonlander or another Leviathan. I personally last time played Underworld Goddess for a really good card to go with IP. For the side deck, I'll be quick with here. 3-dimensional barrier. Obviously, you want this is good against decks like Branded, Zodzol, I've said this before. But it's also really good because if you do use any MXCs, it's not that detrimental in ours either. Because Generaider can play around this card really easy because all our main deck monsters are so powerful. So for our opponent to use this on us, it's really not that big a deal. Storm Judgment, this we take out a hand trap going first for this. Again, just stops anything and the opponent's usually not expecting it. Because I moved the nibs to the main deck, it replaced them with 3 evenly matched, which pretty much does the same job of getting rid of big wards going second. Speaking of which, 3 lava golems. Again, can you tell I don't like Generaider very much? And finally, the back row hate. This comes up against Rescue Ace. It comes up against Labyrinth. You've heard this before. So yeah, that was 60 card semi-budget Generaider. Again, I would recommend upping the talents if you can afford them and getting the Synchron package. But if you want a semi-budget build, I think this is a pretty decent one. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you soon.